Like learning how to use your body as a weapon. There was just something about that I just loved.
So you're from an immigrant family, you're bullied, born poor, and yet somehow managed to become a pioneer in the YouTube video essay space. Leading up to making millions every year is a journey of suffering and violence, yet you push through it all and come out on top, and it's thanks to both being broke as a child and reading a particular book that you achieve what you do. So why will this video come to the conclusion that Jake Tran has lost it all and it's all his own fault? This is the story of Jake Tran of both Boom and Gloom. He's a hyper-successful creator raking in millions of views on YouTube thanks to quite a bleak and despicable past. Like many success stories, Jake's is one of poverty and bullying. He grew up poor, a Vietnamese immigrant moving to America as a young child. His parents wanted a better life for their family, yet it wasn't smooth sailing like they anticipated. Jake's family would eat the dollar menu at McDonald's and even cancelled their cable TV as it just wasn't affordable. These events all caused Jake to want one thing and one thing badly: money. Strangely, it's events like these that spark a sense of urgency and drive in those who face them from an early age, so it's almost a reward in that sense on a long enough time horizon. When Jake realized he was poor, he set out to try and make money from a young age, reselling drinks as a kid and even starting a YouTube channel. When he got into multiple fights, Jake's father made him learn Taekwondo, a form of martial arts that demands patience and control. He used it as an outlet and, more importantly, as a skill he'd later use for YouTube. Unlike many YouTubers like Mr. Beast or Graham Stephan, Jake decided to actually pursue a college education, studying computer science, and eventually landed a job as a developer, raking in $40 an hour. For a young adult, that is definitely not chump change, yet Jake decided this wasn't something he wanted to do. He'd grown tired and bored of his career he'd built for himself and decided he wanted a crack at YouTube once again. Having already tried it before and not making a sustainable amount to live on, Jake tried pursuing another space he was passionate about: finance. By this time, it was clear what he wanted to build: a YouTube channel covering topics in the finance space, but what he didn't know was how. He'd copied Graham Stephan, the king of YouTube finance, trying to replicate his success, and yet had achieved very little. But it's this lack of success that would enable him to find the answer to the how mentioned earlier.
It's still going to be a bad video, no matter if you upload it once or 1,000 times consistently. Based on that alone, this premise of just being consistent and blowing up is not true. So you need something else other than being just consistent. What I found is that you have to be both consistent and offer something different, something innovative in terms of content that isn't being offered by the marketplace already, whether that be YouTube or TikTok or whatever.
He'd realized what the how was, and it seems obvious, but many small creators fall into the trap of not differentiating themselves soon enough. The aim with this channel, for example, is to cover finance and business stories, but give an objective view on the situation at the same time, rather than just narrating what has happened. Now, Jake had found that his USP, his unique selling point, needed to derive from the Blue Ocean Strategy, a book that opened his eyes on why he wasn't succeeding in his space. The book is based on the marketplace being a red ocean, a place where many are trying to capture and attract the same customers, or in this case, the same viewers. Every red ocean was initially a blue ocean though, like Apple and the iPhone dominating a sector that many thought was controlled by Sony and BlackBerry. The phone market that was dominated by Apple's competitors were the red ocean, where everyone competed for the same customer, and Apple found their blue ocean, a sea where there are millions of fish but no fishermen to catch them. They had found a niche with zero competition yet many customers, and so Apple pioneered the premium smartphone sector. Consistency and innovation. Jake had cracked YouTube and now had the formula to blow up, but it's the idea of a blue ocean combined with innovation that catapulted Jake's business sense to another level. The idea that competition is a sin, that rather than trying to make it work in a bloody red ocean full of other sharks competing for attention, finding a blue ocean was the ultimate goal. And it's evident in every creator at the top of their respective niches. Graham Stephan pioneered and created the finance niche as it's known today, with many copying his style. Mr. Beast created an entire niche of videos with a unique competition and large prize pool, and Jubilee created dating in real life videos, a concept you see many creators now copying. Jake acknowledges that new creators will copy to a degree to find their footing, but it's when they discover and master their own blue ocean that they see the growth their idols and their role models get. And Jake did exactly this, starting off copying Graham's videos but pivoting to the style we know today.
One, the make money finance investing niche, like the Graham Stephans of the world, and number two, the infotainment niche, B-roll voiceover channels like One Over Productions, Polymatter, Kurskaza, etc. And then I listed out the factors that made up those YouTube videos. How intellectual the videos are, the make money niche was in the middle, the infotainment niche was high, how much of a personal connection you had with the creator, the make money niche was high since they're on camera, and you're staring at them in the eyes for like 10 minutes straight, and the infotainment niche was very low, since they weren't on camera at all. How much storytelling there was in these videos, the make money niche was almost non-existent, the infotainment niche was very high, and a bunch of other factors. How long the videos are, how visually stimulating the videos are, how much humor there is, how much selling there was in the videos, etc. And then I went through each factor and I decided which ones I wanted to increase, decrease, get rid of, and add. One of the factors I added came from the video essay niche, where they broke down movies like The Dark Knight, creating the ultimate antagonist, or how to begin a movie. I added the use of movie scenes into this blue ocean I was building.
To start off this new approach, he covered creators and now large corporations and their evil money-making practices, from Shell to Nestle, all the way over to obscure topics like how recycling is a scam. He'd do this by talking at the viewer, labeling the company as
You're Shell, you're a plastic company, you're Nestle in the 1970s.
And this style had not been seen before. Jake was sipping pina coladas, admiring the waves of the ocean he had discovered on his exotic island that was his YouTube channel. As an aspiring creator, I have to say I admire him for it. He'd made it, raking in millions of views and dollars as a result of his videos performing extremely well, and yet it's this performance that would lead to huge controversy. Say hello to CoffeeZilla, a YouTuber you really don't want to be covered by because he's the internet detective. We already made a video on him here if you'd like to watch it, but he exposes grifters and fraudsters, so Jake Tran being featured on his channel isn't the best of publicity.
And what I noticed is that Jake makes these videos exposing scams, but then often uses the same tactics of the scam to then pitch you like a sponsor that's in the same lane. Like, for example, he'll tell you that lotteries are predatory.
Lotteries are predatory. They play on our psychology to suck us dry of our hard-earned money.
But then in that same video, he'll sell you a quote, no-lose lottery.
Jake responded to this video particularly because it didn't die down, and many viewers highlighted CoffeeZilla's view in his comments section. Now this has been taken down as you can't find it in Jake's community tab feed, but here's what he said. What did you expect from a channel that teaches you to be evil? He highlights his reasoning for using sponsors and how they fund the channel and future content, and how if you don't like it, you can just skip the ad roll, and this is arguably where the viewers of Jake Tran split into two categories. Some of them decide that CoffeeZilla has exposed him, as well as many others following suit, and find his sponsors to be hypocritical, stripping him of credibility and placing him in the same spotlight he puts the companies he exposes. Understandable, and to an extent it is true. He's criticizing a company for bad practices and then engaging in those same bad practices for money. The second category involves those who couldn't care less and skip through his ads, which he himself encourages if you find them unnerving. This is also understandable and a point of view that recognizes YouTube is a business with many creators aiming to achieve different things, and in Jake's case it's teaching his audience how to spot and become evil, signing off the situation saying stay dangerous. Regardless of what bucket you fall into, CoffeeZilla's audience quickly spread to Jake's comments section, with many highlighting their discontent with his ad strategy. But of course, he was still garnering views and people couldn't get enough of his content with how entertaining it simply was. Jake continued the videos as well as the ads, and eventually the hype around the situation fizzled out, with those frustrated and disappointed with Jake unsubscribing and ignoring his content. But that was just an external factor, with Jake making arguably the largest and most irreparable mistake of his online career next. And that of course was the horrendous voice actor he replaced himself with. By this point, it's safe to assume Jake had already outsourced every process regarding his content except for the voiceover. But that was arguably what everyone returned for. His way of communicating something he picked up from Taekwondo as a kid is something that just can't be outsourced or communicated to a voice actor. He began by covering the intro combined with a sponsorship before leaving the remainder of the video to be outsourced by some random man. Now unfortunately for Jake, part of his blue ocean, the video essay and documentary space that he pioneered, demands suspense and the use of certain emotions captivating the viewer. Now part of this is giving the viewer some insight into what they are clicking on rather than clickbaiting them, which has become a common practice on his channel. Of course, with some viewers picking up on this, with one of them literally listing all of the clickbait titles that Jake is using. The other part of that was his voice, and the minute that was removed, so was his blue ocean. it became a cookie cutter essay channel with no unique selling point or value proposition, as by this point many creators were copying Jake and following a similar format. Looking at those around him in this space, it's evident that creators like Moon and Sunny V2 continue to grow because they never compromised on the voiceovering itself, a key part that makes or breaks whether a viewer will watch a video. Why did he do it though? Well, looking at his Instagram, it's possible that he just took time away off from the channel to travel and party, meeting new people and making new memories. All of that is fine and understandable, but perhaps prioritizing your source of income by at least recording the script is a compromise that can be met alongside living life, especially when sitting down to record 2 15-minute scripts a week is hardly backbreaking labor. Looking at Jake's recent videos, he's clearly reflected and come to this realization with his content returning to his voice, but at what cost? Much of his viewer base has already stopped watching him, and that's clear in the steep decline in views per video. Of course, they're still extraordinary, but for a channel of his size and success, and where the channel used to be a year ago, Jake can and should be doing better. But it seems that whenever Jake learns from his mistakes, he ends up making another one, and this time he quite ironically did it exposing Andrew Tate. Jake did his classic take covering Andrew in a video recently, as did we right here if you want to check out that video. But while he highlighted the controversy surrounding the kickboxer, particularly picking up on the affiliate marketing side of the business Hustlers University, now known as the Real World, he highlighted how young teenagers were making $25 per affiliate sale and how some had made $11,000 in a mere week. Jake shilled this off and portrayed it as a scam, and yes, you guessed it correctly, Jake started his own affiliate marketing scheme with his own $250 course. Viewers picked up on this, with one of them highlighting the irony behind exposing and then shilling the very thing you exposed. I think there's good and bad things about every channel whether we like it or not, and the important thing is when those bad things are magnified like they are with all big channels, that the creator acknowledges and rectifies their lapse in judgment. There's an argument to be made that Jake didn't do this, with his response to CoffeeZilla literally being that his channel is about teaching people to be evil, yet it's clear that Jake is moving away from outsourcing his voice and accepting questionable sponsors, as evident in a recent video of his.
Geopolitics is scary and all, but you know what else is scary?
Premature ejaculation, finishing too fast in bed.
Although, to be honest, I'm not sure what erectile dysfunction has to do with China and Russia destroying the dollar, but it's a step in the right direction. As for good things, I myself will be reading the Blue Ocean strategy, as there's many creators out there that have clearly adopted it, like Bia Heza, and you can click on this video here to find out how he created his own YouTube niche too.